This is an example that shows how to create alert dialog boxes and action sheets. In this first example, we pop up an alert box that displays a place for entering text, and then the user can cancel or submit. And so I'm going to enter the word password for the password. Notice that the entry is obfuscated as I enter it. I hit submit, and what I entered is displayed here at the top. So let's see how this works. This button get password is connected to this IB action. And inside the IB action, I create a UIAlertController that takes a title, a message, and a style. The title, password, appears here. The message appears below the title. And the style is a UIAlertController controller style.alert, so it's this alert style. Then we have a cancel button and submit button. Those are added to the alert using the add action method. The add action takes a UIAlert action, and I construct an instance here of UIAlert action, in the first case with the title of cancel and a style of UIAlert action style cancel. And by setting it to this cancel style, this is what caused this to be bolded. And then submit, but it has a UIAlert action style of default, so it's not bolded. And these styles are used because Apple can decide how the cancel style should look or what a default style should look like. Now, the cancel button has no handler. It's set to nil, which means no action is taken when this button is clicked, which means the dialog just gets put away and nothing more happens. When submit is clicked on, this handler is executed, and this thing that I'm highlighting is a closure. A closure can be passed as a parameter, and the parameter acts like a function. And inside the closure, this is the parameter passed to the function, so the alert action is passed into the function. The function returns nothing, so returns void. And the word in is followed by the code that goes inside of this closure that is going to be executed when it is called. The if let text field equals alert.textfields ? 0 retrieves the first text field from the alert. And the reason we're doing this is we want to know what the user has entered here. So we haven't looked at the code yet for adding the text field. That's right down here. But let's assume for a moment that the alert, we have access to the text field through alert.textfields. So we want to get that text field, the first text field, and then get the text out of the text field and use it to set the variable up here, password, and then the password is used to set the text of the password label, which is what is being displayed here at the top in this view. So the text fields are added through alert.addTextField, and the add text field has a parameter named configuration handler, and this here is again a closure, and the configuration handler receives a parameter that is named text field, and it's of type UI text field. And then, so what's happening here is essentially when alert add text field is called, a text field is created by the alert, but then the alert calls this closure and hands the closure of the text field so that we can configure it. So this text field that we're receiving is, this is the parameter for the closure, parameter for the function that's being called. I can move this down to this line if I wanted to. So this is what I'm receiving, and then the in is followed by the code to be executed. So we're going to take the text field, put in a placeholder that says password, that's where that came from, and then is secure text entry is what's going to cause this to obfuscate what we're typing. If this is set to false, then we'd be able to see the letters printed out. So again, add text field adds a text field and then calls this closure and hands the text field to us so that we can configure the text field. So this created the alert, this added the two buttons to the alert, and this added the text field. This presents the alert, animates its presentation, and when it is presented, the user interacts with it, and when the alert is done, the completion handler, if there were one, would be called. In our case, we don't need a completion handler to be called. We're simply going to take action when submit is clicked, and this closure is called to grab the password and put it in a property in the class in the instance of this view controller, and then use it to set the label. Now, the style is alert. That's what's presenting this. I'm going to change this to the other style that's available, action sheet, and run this again. And you'll notice when I click to bring up the alert, it crashes. And if we go to the message that's displayed, it says assertion failure, and then terminating app due to uncaught exception, internal consistency exception. Text fields can only be added to an alert controller of style, so we cannot use action sheet on this particular style of alert because it contains a text field. So I'm going to change this back to alert and run this again. And we see that it works as an alert. So now let's go to the next example. This is an example showing the deletion of an item. So when I click delete item, it pops up an alert that says, do you want to delete the item, cancel, and yes. I'm going to say yes, and then I printed the message up here, item deleted. I'm going to click delete item and cancel, and nothing happens. So, delete item. Again, creating an alert, titled delete item, message, do you want to delete the item? Preferred style is again the alert style, so this is the alert style. I then added two actions, one cancel and one yes. The style for this is cancel, and the style for the yes is destructive, and that's why it's in red. And since I said that I want to delete an item, clicking yes is destructive, so I'm using the destructive style to bring attention to the fact that this is destructive. The alert is created here, and then self-present presents the alert. When the alert completes, we don't take any action. Where we take action is when the user clicks cancel or when the user clicks yes. And when the user clicks cancel, this closure is executed. It receives an alert action as a parameter. It returns nothing. It returns void. The in is just before the code that's going to get executed, and what I'm choosing to do here in this handler when the user clicks cancel is to set the label, delete status labels, text to item deletion canceled, which is what we see have up and up there. And when we click yes, we get item deleted because this closure calls self-delete status label text and sets it to item deleted. So we could call any function that's in this view controller from here. We could access any property in the view controller from here. So whatever action you need to take when the user clicks one of the buttons would be inside of the closure. Now I can change this alert style to action sheet style, and it should work in this case. So I'm going to change it and then rerun the simulator. Notice now it pops up from the bottom. This is the action sheet style. Do you want to delete this item? Yes, and then that's displayed up there. Finally, I'm going to go to a multiple choice selector that is using an action sheet. Pop up a title of choice, a description of choose, and then I'm going to choose B, and B is displayed up there. So let's see how this works. This is the multiple choice version. I create an alert, title choice, message choose, preferred style is action sheet. Now if I change this to alert, it would pop up as an alert box rather than as an action sheet. I'm adding 4 actions. Each action is taking a UI alert action, title of A, style default, and then this is the handler, the code that's going to get called, the closure that's going to get called when the user chooses A, or in this case when the user chooses B, or when the user chooses C. So A, B, C, and D all look the same. They just have different titles for each, and they each have their own handler. In the case of the handlers, I'm just taking the label, this label that's appearing right up here, and setting the text to the choice. Again, from here we could call any function, or we could access any property to take action when the user makes a choice. Let's change this from an action sheet style to an alert style. Run it again. And now it's popping up in alert style. Still works the same way, it's just an alert style rather than an action sheet style.